getting gussied up. His crack team of um, aestheticians prettying him up to be present for us. Thank you so much, uh, translators, live translators, for your extraordinary work. I don't know how you do it, but you seem to do it again and again, and we're very grateful for your hearty efforts. Thank you so much, subscribers to the Good Night Club.
Hey.
Remember, you can subscribe. We will put up the QR codes again. Remember, this is always free for you. We're just happy to be here together. It's a joy. And without any further blah blah ado from me, I gratefully hand the reins over to our steadfast master translator, Geshe Michael, and our steadfast, someday soon master translator, but she's actually quite smart. Utpala.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
And I will turn it over to Venerable Utpala. Yay!
Yay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So let's dive right in to
Homeworks are hard. Oh.
well, yeah, I'm sorry, but I think the text is hard. That's the issue.
Oh, wait till you see today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Excellent. So this is the quiz for the class we had. I'm looking over here because that's where your faces are, but I know you, there you are. Sorry. This is the quiz for the class we had last month on January 13th. So it wasn't all that long ago. So hopefully.
Papa Mahjong.
Okay, debating already. So if you recall, or as you recall, I should say, we are speaking about the mind-only school and how it takes the phrase non-duality. What that means to them is that, for example, the thing perceived and the perceiver are the same substance. Remember?
More or less.
One person shook their head. Yay. Okay. So let's dive in. We only covered one stanza in this class, as you recall. But before we got to that stanza, we went into a verse that explained something. So we'll just dive right in there, okay? So how did Arya Asanga explain the meaning of the phrase from the Mother Sutras, there's nothing? Whoa. So what is there's nothing in the second turning of the wheel of Lord Buddha? Like in the Heart Sutra, for example. What does Arya Asanga say from the mind-only school perspective that there's nothing? What does that mean?
There is nothing, that it's not the same substance as the perceiver.
Also said there's nothing that's not the same substance as the perceiver.
More specifically, I think it has to do with the naming process.
Okay.
Meaning that there's no natural relationship between a thing and the name we call that thing.
Okay.
Very beautiful and very correct.
A rose by any other name.
Then we went into a little, we dug into a verse that was this poetry that included the lines, there is no concept seen, no bodhisattva seen. And that's how Lord Buddha taught phenomena are seen. Do you remember this? hopefully you recall how it is that Jason Kappa clarified what this is talking about. Does anyone remember?
I think I do, but I don't, it's not my job. I don't do the homework.
Yeah, you're exempt. I see there's a bunch of people in
Yay.
chat, but when I'm in full screen, I can't see chat.
Mm.
So he said that not seeing the obscuring cover of mountains is said to be like making designations to see the sky.
Whoa. Okay.
Thank you, Jason Kappa. Very clear now. So, an ordinary person looking up sees sky. So, what's the problem with that? With your mind only hat.
They can't see it. They cannot see.
Listen, absent.
Stanley says you cannot see it.
Okay, that's
Can I
true.
try?
Yes, please.
It's we cannot see it because it's the obstacles by the five hips.
Whoa.
The
It's
obstacle.
like we see the mountain, but we cannot see the sky.
Oh, we can see the mountain, can we?
Yeah, so when we don't see the mountain, we can see the sky. Mean we're removing all the five hips.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else
So I
want to give
mean,
a
an
shot?
ordinary person, the problem is that they cannot, they get the obstacles from the five hips to see the real things.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Venerable
Until
Kadrin? Oh,
we
sorry.
perceive the things in direct emptiness. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Venerable Kadrin?
Yeah, thank you. So probably we cannot see sky because it's covered with mountains. And if it's covered with mountains and we don't think that seeing sky is, so sorry, we don't think that when we see blue sky, it built from rocks, because mountains built from rocks, but mountain is covered sky. And this is the same like we are looking at the sky and we think that it made from atoms, but it's not. So it's just covered by atoms for us. We see it's like atoms, not see actually, but we think they're atoms. It's like mountains. We don't think that sky is built from rocks. It's my understanding of last class.
It has some interesting concepts in there that we talked about.
It suggests that you are seeing it and then you are so que voy a because that, o sea, el cielo te sugiere que lo estás viendo.
The sky suggests that you're seeing.
That you are seeing it.
The sky suggests that,
That's up to you.
say again.
Sky already.
The sky
The
suggests,
sky is suggesting itself to you.
And it's suggesting a sky.
the sky suggests itself to you as the sky.
Okay.
It's not that the absence.
Thank you.
of mountains, what's
Whoa.
So here's what's going on from the mind-only school perspective. They conceive that what they're seeing is naturally sky. But there is no natural connection between the name and the thing named. And that is the inborn holding to the self-existence of things, according to the mind-only school. So that's the main problem. But also, they think they've seen something, as Venerable Kadin was talking about. Kadin, sorry. But not only is sky not sky, naturally, sky is the absence of obstruction, namka. in Tibetan. It's a negative thing. So it's impossible that considering a negative thing as being an outside thing with physicality is inborn. No one would automatically think that.
I don't see work buying it.
He's breaking up.
That's something we get to chew on. So let's just jump to vocabulary, shall we? Please, can you give me the English equivalent of this phrase? Rangi netsu kiwangi.
By the power of the way a thing naturally is.
That's not bad.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. That's okay.
So can you give me the Tibetan for these guys' system?
Word says Shenkiluk.
Not other guys.
Dudes look.
Around look.
Word says Dedakilu. Dedakilu.
Samtam
Dipelu.
Ipeluk.
Oh,
Sure.
Ina, nice.
Yeah.
Wow, nice, nice.
And the
nice.
English equivalent for this word, which we had newly last class.
Mm,
said search for.
I did?
Yeah.
Let's
Close,
see what-
close.
It's like to be called like search for. Just leave.
Not seen.
Someone said it, locate.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So thank you and
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you for homework.
And now
Any
we go
translation?
to, I do. Let me get
Mm.
that up.
Yeah.
Where did you go? Sorry.
The runaway translation.
Oh, it's hidden, that's why.
Your dog deleted it.
Well, I don't have a dog, but
And he has, and if I did, he has no thumbs.
do you want me to read it?
Sure.
Deshin du dishena yung gidole jangchup sempa yang dakpar jesu matong jangchup sempa sempe ming yang dakpar jesu matong she soki doi dun tek du dang getong dun du sul di gone chepa nam kitsula kepar gyurgi Shenduna Shingda Chempoi Do Dun Chetsu Ki Chok Kyang Tongwa Mayino.
Well, okay, let me read your translation. And if you understand it, they should do shina, then you'll become an expert how to summary and it doesn't explain the meaning. You cannot say no, so can you even name them? Okay. Okay. But if you don't understand it like that, and you're not saying that one of the great innovators explain the meaning of something. Yeah, I like it. I think everything's fine. Right. Let's go back up to your translation. Why did Geshe-la put in his notes this last part, a pun on the whole thing?
Well, because you're not going to, it's talking about not being able to see.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So get it? So he says they don't understand not seeing this way. They don't understand not seeing this way. And if you don't understand that, you don't see anything. Okay. He's being cute. All right. The tongue, like tongue lumps, path of seeing, it's at the end. Um, I had a big insight into this whole thing. I don't know when I was asleep last night, but what do you? Let's start with the mountain and the sky, okay?
Yes, please.
Uh,
Can I
so
stop sharing now?
is there any more translation?
No, you just wanted me to do that.
Okay, fine. Okay, that's fine. We're about to, after how many years? 2 years or something, of struggling with very exotic points about the mind-only school. He's about to explain the mind-only school in like 2 pages. And he's explaining the 3 qualities of the mind. He'll start to explain it now. And I suddenly had an insight that this whole thing about seeing the sky, if you don't see the mountain, is the 3 qualities of the mind-only school. Can you take a shot at how the 3 qualities are there in the metaphor of trying to see the sky, but having to stop seeing the mountain to see the sky?
Kunta means the
Shenwang,
and then
Kunta, Yonggu. Yeah.
Shenwang is the thing out there that is actually created by causes. Kunta is the fact that you call it the sky or the mountain or whatever. That would be the obscuration, and the lack thereof would be Yongdru.
Yeah. Nice. Did you hear word?
Not a
Word had
word.
a nice explanation. You could take the sky as emptiness, right? You could take the mountain as kuntak, things that are not really there that seem to be there. And if you can cancel the kuntak, then you can see the sky. You see what I mean? If you cancel kuntaks on top of shenwangs, then you can see yongdrups. And I suddenly I realized that's what they're talking about. Okay, the mountain is kuntak, and they do seem like mountains. The things you think are there, which are not there, are huge. And then when you realize, for example, a blue that could be outside in this school, blue that could be outside. Okay, that's the mountain. A blue which could be outside is the mountain. And when you realize it's not there, you see emptiness, and that's the sky. You see what I mean? It's a very beautiful.
What's Shenwang?
I don't know what's the Shenwang. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's the person looking, but it's very interesting to me.
See,
And
I
now,
would have thought that, oh,
go ahead.
no,
Go
please
ahead.
continue.
Oh, well, I was gonna do the denouement. Then he says you can't see a bodhisattva. What would that mean if it's the same parallel thing going on with the 3 qualities of the mind-only school?
That the
Venerable-
Bodhisattva is a kuntak.
Good, yeah. The perception of who you are is a wrong impression. And then the absence of that is emptiness. So when he says you can't see the bodhisattva or you can't see the mountain, when you stop seeing the mountain, you see the sky. When you stop seeing the bodhisattva, you see the emptiness of the bodhisattva. That's why they're using this section. That's why they're using this section. I just figured it out like last night. Okay. Anyway, what were you gonna say before I interrupted you?
Well, I was sort of wondering if that the mountain was the Shenwang, and that the mountain is the kuntak.
It could be that. Yeah. Yeah, we have trouble finding a Shenwang here personally. Yeah. The kuntak, yeah, that's fine. Maybe we'll get
when
there.
you stop seeing
Yeah.
mountain,
Yeah.
you see what's real.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the idea. And that's what it means when you don't see a bodhisattva also. when the bodhisattva stops seeing the bodhisattva, they see emptiness of the bodhisattva. So the bodhisattva that the bodhisattva thinks is there is not there. And when you stop seeing that, you see the real nature of the bodhisattva. See what I mean? Like the sky and the mountain. Okay, it's cool. I think because he goes right into the three qualities of the mind-only school. That's what we're going to cover today.
Yay.
And by the way, it's cruelty to present it 2 years later. No, I mean, he gave very complex arguments about the three qualities, and he didn't tell us what they were. And everything's backwards. And now he's at the end of the discussion. And by the way, we're not far from the Holy Land, which is the middle way.
Arya Nagarjuna's point of view.
We're about to slip into the middle way, which is going to be boring for you guys compared to this, because it's something you've been fed for 20, 30 years. You're just going to hear the same usual beautiful stuff. You know, when you hit the middle way stuff, it's gonna be, you could write it yourself. But we're about to hit it after 2 or 3 years of work. Okay.
The quizzes will be easy, in other words.
Not your quizzes. All right. Thank you for. Did you have a translation or no? That was it. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Let's see. Let me see. Oh, this is Seiji's book.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Let's see. Sorry. Let's get this here. Okay. Interlude. Let's do that. Oops. Okay.
Section 365.
Okay. Let me get this. Okay, let's go. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, so we're on page 21B. We're gonna hit middle way on 24 in 3 more pages, and then it's gonna be boring. Okay. Yeah, and we finally get the definitions of the 3 qualities that would have been helpful a long time ago. All right. Was there some note here? Let me see. Yeah, somewhere he says here, we have some kind of, let me see. Somehow these 2 books, which is Take-Do, Mahayana Sangraha, and Getong, which is the 8,000 verses on the perfection of wisdom, somehow they are going to collaborate. Dundur means they're going to work together.
So it's not a misspelling. I thought it was a misspelling of de.
Now I don't think it is. Yeah, I don't think it is. Yeah, I don't think it is. But yeah, there's so I went to the 8,000 verses to see if there was a similar language going on. And there is, and here it is here. Okay. You might want to have someone read Venerable Upala, this
Okay.
line here. So I went to the 8,000 verses because supposedly it's talking about this same point. And we're going to have a footnote according to the mixed nuts standards. So,
Okay, great.
Please have someone read this one.
Venerable Xuanzang, could you please read?
Dene chomden de la sedang den para rupture gi ndike chesunto.
Okay, cool. So the point is, someone's talking to the conqueror. Who's that?
Subhuti.
Subhuti, Venerable Subhuti, Rabjor is Subhuti, who is the hero of the Dharmakaya Sutra. Okay. So and some people say a Buddha in disguise himself, asking these questions. Okay, so this is in my opinion, this is where he's talking about from the 8,000 verses. Okay. And who do you want to read this quotation?
I would like Venerable Xuanzang to continue because that was really
Okay.
short.
Chomdinde Jonchu Sempe Mingang Lekpan Di Ni Daki Mak Sol Sel Mamik Yang Dak Ba Jesu Mi Tong No.
Good. Yeah. Oh, conqueror. I don't see the Ming of the Chanchu Samba. What's that? Same in
I don't see
Chinese.
the name Bodhisattva.
Yeah. Whatever it may be. Kang Lakpa means whatever it may be. Lakspa is an ancient word for Yupa. Okay. So whatever it may be, I don't see it. By the way, this is the lock in Geshe-la.
Oh,
Your isness. Okay. When you say Geshe-la, it's Geshe-lak. Okay. It's an ancient word for is. The big is. Okay. Chanju Sebe Ming, whatever it may be, that Daki Mat Sel, what cell mean like Chak cell? Yeah, I don't find anything there. Okay. When I look for the name of the Bodhisattva, I don't find anything. Mamik. Yeah, it doesn't exist. Okay. And I don't tong. I don't see it. Jesu Maton means I can't perceive it there. Okay. If it's talking about the three qualities of the mind only school, what's it mean? Yeah, I don't see the kuntak part of the bodhisattva. Therefore, I see the true nature of the bodhisattva. Okay. So when he says Ming here, name of the bodhisattva, he's talking somehow about the deceptive nature of the bodhisattva. And I don't see it. Meaning I see who the bodhisattva really is, because I don't see who they're not. Got it? And that's the three qualities of the mind only school. I don't see kunta, which is the fake bodhisattva. And because I don't see the fake bodhisattva, I see the emptiness of the bodhisattva, which means I really see the bodhisattva. Cool. So then the 8,000 verses and the Mahayana Sangraha by a Sangha, he says dundur means they are working towards the same idea. Okay, cool. There's the quotation from the 8,000 verses.
What did you search for?
thank you.
What did I search for? That's a good question. I don't remember. Yeah, probably. But I do these exotic proximity searches. So God bless Gopher. May Ben Kramer always keep it in the world. All right. Who's gonna read Venerable Upale?
Venerable Cutting, please.
Good morning, thank you.
Oh, there you are.
De la Shengi Wami Kun Taki Dopeshi Tang Yong Druki Chu Chen Yinla Senshi Ni Tam Chedo.
Nice. So here begins what?
The description of the three parts.
Yeah, here begins
Or
the description of the three qualities of the mind only school. How many pages? We are 275 pages, English pages into the text. And now he gives us what he should have given us on the first page. Okay. And maybe there's some sense to that. Probably, you're going to remember because you were so confused before. Really. So I don't know. You got to write him a letter and ask him why. Okay. Shenki Wang means what?
Well, things that are under the power of other things.
Yeah, changing things or produce things that are created by causes. Okay. Kuntaki Dokpe Shi. They are the thing that Kuntak refers to. Okay. changing things are what are misunderstood. And kuntak is the misunderstanding you have about them. Okay. So when you divide the three qualities of the mind-only school, you have changing things, then you have a wrong idea about them. And the fact that the wrong idea is wrong is their emptiness, their yongdrup. Okay. Okay, kundaki dopi. Those of you who went to hear Geshe Rinchen in 1998, this is all familiar to you. Okay. Wangi kundaki dopi shitang. Yongdruki chichen, what's that mean?
Let's talk about and what the computation turns out to be.
Yeah, it's the thing which possesses Yongdrup. It's what Kuntak seemed to apply to, and it is what Yongdrup applies to, meaning it's the thing which is empty. Okay, so if you want to define changing things in the mind-only school, they are the thing that was misunderstood with Kuntak, and they are the thing which is empty of Kuntak. Cool? All right. They're kind of like the basis. All right. Chechen. And can you give me an example? Somebody says, can you give me an example of a Shenwang? And he says what?
Sure, everything.
Not exactly. This is
Every
not
working
Baba.
thing.
Yeah,
Every
work.
function.
Yeah, every functioning thing. Everything that does something. Okay. Now finally he's giving us a standard Galupa. Here's the definition, here's the divisions, here's the here's the Seni. And that's like, I don't know, super classic sentence. Very, very important. I don't think you ever see it, but you know, it should be carved on words door. Who's gonna read, Utpala?
Adriana, would you like to read, please?
Probably really good from her trip.
Denny, Nigyu, Kenshan, Larag, Lewe, Wangi, is that okay? Wangi, Chungwa.
Thank you.
Nice. You want to translate, Venerable Utpala?
So the definition, the other factor, depending on other factors. Oh, it comes about through the power of other factors.
Yeah, past tense. Something which has come about. Yeah, something which has come about through the power of depending on causes and conditions. Yeah. And there's the Shen Wang. Okay. Shen Wang. And he's making a pun. Okay. Shen Wang, changing things means they have occurred through the power Wang of other causes and conditions. Okay. That's the definition of Shen Wang. It would have been really nice at the beginning of the book. Yeah. Okay. And here's a kind of a controversial division. And this, again, he's doing typical Galupa thing, define it, give an example, explain the name, give the divisions. Okay. So who's going to read that, Venerable Utpala?
Maria.
Maria.
Nestrov.
Thank you. Chena tek chen bakpe.
Yena.
Tek chen bakpe che tup dakpa jiktenpe yeshe tau dakpa shen wangdang so ke yang dakma yin kun dokta bu ma dak shen wang niso.
Lovely.
Nice reading. So Venerable Utpala, he's dividing all Shenwangs into Dakpa Shenwangs and Madakpa Shenwangs. What's that mean?
I guess pure changing things, impure changing things.
Yeah, changing things which are pure and changing things which are impure. Okay. All right. Or produce things. Let's say produce things which are pure and produce things which are impure. So what's his example of a pure Shenwang? Teichen Pape Jeto Yeshe, basically. Okay.
It's the, oh my goodness, it's an aria of the middle way.
No,
The
greater way.
wisdom in the mind.
Yeah.
What?
Greater way. Teichen. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The wisdom in the mind of an aria of the greater way.
Yep. But it's J-top, it's not Ngunsun.
It's it's after, I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
how you
Yeah,
do that, but
subsequent,
after they've
subsequent,
seen subsequent,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, subsequent to the direct perception of emptiness. So they come out and they are still fooled, but they don't believe it. Their perceptions are full, but they don't believe it. Okay. So they still see things. They still see the pen as if the pen were coming from the pen, but they don't believe it anymore. They know they're crazy. Okay. That's a big advance. Okay. When you know you're crazy, you made some progress. Okay. So yeah, and then he calls it Jikdembe Yeshe, which means they have an understanding, but it's almost worldly now. Because they are no longer in the direct perception of emptiness. So we call it worldly. They have a pure worldly perception following their direct perception of emptiness, okay? But they are still misled by the object, but they don't believe it anymore, okay? If you ask them, they'll say, the pen comes from me, but I have to admit it doesn't look that way to me right now, okay? Like that. So that's the first kind of, out of all the Shenwangs in the universe, which are countless, he picks that one as being what we call a pure Shenwang. Okay, that's a pure Shenwang. What's an impure Shenwang? Sosokeos.
Any old person, any old ordinary person.
Yeah, and they're kuntok without an S.
Their misunderstanding.
Yeah, their imagination of the world, their delusion of the world. Is it a Shenwang?
Yes.
Yeah, it's produced by other things. Is it pure?
No.
No. Okay, got it? That's all. And it's very odd that he should divide all Shenwangs into those two. It's extremely odd. He didn't, it's not even a physical thing. 99% of our world is physical. And it's causing and then here he's choosing two states of mind to make a division of all Shenwangs. It's weird. Okay. It's quite unusual. Okay. Got it? Good. Right. Like he should have divided things into physical and mental or something like that, right?
Doesn't it make sense because the cessation an Arya has of seeing things as being self-existent, isn't that called the kunta?
I don't know.
Like the as opposed to the inborn, isn't the kunta?
Shenki and kuntak,
Yeah.
different meaning of kuntak. So,
But it's
yeah.
interesting here, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think it's going there. Yeah, but I understand. Kuntak can also mean learned. When you're talking about kinds of ignorance, actually. So yeah, okay.
We didn't hear what he said.
Oh, Word was saying, I wonder if it relates to the division into kuntak and shenke, which is that kuntak means learned later in life,
Right.
as opposed to inborn. And it's typically applied to after you grow up, you join a religion, for example, which says that everything came from, I don't know, a big pizza in the sky or something. And then it's a learned wrong idea as opposed to a natural wrong idea. But I don't think it so much relates here. Yeah, okay.
Geshe Michael,
Yep.
has he then is it related to the mind only school not accepting external objects, that he's just divided all changing reality into two states of mind?
I don't,
Oh,
I don't, oh, yeah, that could be. But I mean, that's a nice way to explain why he might use that. Yeah. Still, it's a fascinating choice of Shenwang's, you know,
Mhm.
why he would divide, you know, what was it? Senshi, was it? No, it was,
Yeah, classical example.
oh, when he gave a division. Yeah. Divisions are two kinds. One which is exhaustive and one which is not.
Okay,
So I kind of guess this one's not. You see,
I see.
the division into changing and unchanging is exhaustive. It covers all entities. But the division into a state of mind which is pure and a state of mind which is impure does not in any way cover all changing things. It's a strange division.
Mhm.
It's two states of mind.
Isn't he saying pure Shenwan and impure Shenwan as the decision?
You could say that, but it still doesn't, for example, address physical things.
But he's just giving two examples to
But
pure
yeah,
Shenwan and impure.
it would have to be that. It would have to be that. Yeah, but it still is odd. Normally, when you give divisions, they are exhaustive. In this section, when you're explaining what I believe, it's more normal to divide everything. You know, okay. Like when you divide all changing things, it's in, you know, physical, mental, and which is that's exhaustive. It covers all changing things.
But if we say pure and impure under Shenwan, then
You
that
could
is-
say that, but
you don't think that's
you could
correct?
say that. Yeah. I wonder where physical stuff would be. Okay.
what is it that you could say?
Stanley says you could argue that this is an exhaustive division if it says all the things which are Shenwang and pure and all the things which are Shenwang and impure. And then there's just the two examples happen to both be physical. Mental, sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Who's gonna read the next part?
Rebecca, please.
Ooh.
Hello. Kuntak ni dakshi soar shenwang yitangdu tokpe takba tamte senshini chitsen tamshe inla.
Thank you.
Okay. This is to me, this is controversial in itself. Kuntak means imaginary stuff that you thought was there that wasn't there, which is the mountain and the bodhisattva. Okay. Or a blue which is not born inside your refrigerator. Okay, that's kuntak. What the kuntak applies to, so what the misperception applies to is normally shenwangs. We misunderstand things that are produced by causes and conditions, okay? So dakshi means what does the kuntak attach to? What is the misperception attached to? Okay, what is it attached to? Normally we say all things which have causes and conditions is what the misperception is attached to. Got it? Okay. But here he says the main thing that the misperception is attached to is shenwangs. That's correct. Okay, that's correct. And that's the normal presentation. What I like to call the equation of the mind-only school. Take shenwangs, subtract the kuntaks that we tend to lay on them, and you arrive at equals emptiness. Okay, in this school. Now there's a controversial word here. What do you think's bothering me in the first line?
Tzor.
Yeah, tzor. Mainly.
Yeah, like as if there's something else.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah. So I'll say it again. He says imaginary things, which means wrong ideas about something, that it could be outside. For example, the blue could be outside. The fact that the blue is outside applies to the blue, right? And that's a non-existent fact. When you see it's not there, you see emptiness. That's the mind-only school's equation. Then he says, wrong misperceptions in the mind-only school apply mainly to changing things.
Like skies.
What else is left?
Sky just up.
Could you have a misperception about the empty space?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good. That covers it mainly. Okay. You could
What
also
about
have,
just thoughts or ideas or emotions or
those are all Shenron. Yeah. Yeah. I think Stanley's example is probably the only one.
empty space
Yeah, or something similar.
or
Okay.
emptiness? You could have
You
a
would
wrong
have to
idea about emptiness.
Yeah.
That's a little exotic. Okay.
You would have to say that the belief that a word, that a name belongs to a thing, right,
Mhm.
is a kuntak placed on a kuntak.
You could say that. Maybe. Yep. Okay, so Shenwangi Tendu. Tope Taksam here means what? Venerable Upana. Tope. By the way, it's not what it means in the middle way.
Well, it's merely labeled through
Yeah,
the
it's just made up.
idea.
It's just made up by your mistaken ideas. Okay. Topa here without the S means just your fantasy or something. Okay. The fact that blue could be outside is just made up by some imagination. Okay, got it? Now, by the way, he's mushing together what would normally be split up. And I was lazy to split them all up, but normally you have Senyi, and then you have Senshi, and you have Yewas. And what's the classical example of a kuntak? In this sentence, what's the classical example of a kuntak?
So it would be every archetype.
Yeah. Any archetype, any general. And that to appreciate that, you have to go back to whose text? Adam's text.
Adam's text, yay.
Any general category is an example of a conceptual thing and not a real thing, something like that. Okay. These are all interesting takes on this is not a normal presentation of the mind-only school. He's going deeper. Okay. Who's gonna read next?
Hold on here. Noor, could you please read? Okay, going once, twice, 3 times. Venerable Sunam, could you read, please? Tong Tong, could you read, please?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Drang nghe nam jay lei, thế tha khí mang bo shik minh thang, they drop me nu pay, you pay in yang, rang ki ten ni ki, drupa ming te dok pay, tak ba, ten in pay chiro.
Great, thank
Cool.
you.
Thank you.
Nice. Change Namje, what's that?
Well, that means he's going to go now and talk about the book that his teacher, Jason Kappa, wrote called
Nice.
The Essence of Eloquence, Art of
Yeah,
Interpretation.
and it's kind of nice to see someone quote their teacher's book. Which by the way, if you're trying to establish timelines, is very helpful. It means that if you can figure out when Changi Namje was written, you would know that this was written later, for example, and that it must have been written quite a while before because it had already been carved or something, that it was already available, something like that. So that book by his teacher, Mambo Shik, many of these, okay, a good number of these cannot be established through what?
Through name and mental image.
Good. So there are things which exist, but which cannot be established through names. But they in the same moment we have to say they are not Rankitsenikitupa.
They do not exist by definition.
Yeah. In fact, they are Tope Takpa. Yeah, they are creations of ideas or creations of imagination. And I just point out the spelling of Takpa here. And even Jetson Kappa, in my opinion, sometimes there's trouble with this spelling. And you might want to see why he used this Takpa is the past tense of ndokpa, which means to label something. But Bratakpa with an R, Brtags, means to examine something. They are different verbs, and the Sanskrit is different, and they mix them up. They tend to mix them up. Okay, yeah.
I think it's purposeful in here because I'm paying attention. And previously he did use the BR, and then when he started speaking about the definition of Kuntak as a thing put on the doc sheet,
Yeah.
he switched to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. We're gonna go look at the quotation itself. Okay, ready?
What did he say?
He said, this is Jetson Kappa. Yeah, I don't suggest he made a mistake here. I just mean he's not precise with it in general in his writings. Sometimes and maybe it's the carvers, we don't know. Okay, but he said it here, Tsongkhapa means it without the R. Because it means labeled with an imagination or something like that. So it's spelled correctly here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I thought it might help you to understand this quotation and translate it more accurately if you got a sentence in front of it and a sentence after it. In my opinion, you could translate it more accurately. Okay, so we're gonna switch over to Tsongkhapa's famous book on the art of interpretation, and we're gonna just read a few sentences before that quotation and after that quotation. You ready?
Yes.
Who's gonna read?
Berta, could you read or are you translating? She's translating. Inna?
Ina's translating.
Same. Tracy.
Thank you.
Okay.
Chirkun takla chiten tam che dang nam ka la sokpa de machikye kyang gongdrele ma sung pani.
Lovely. Thank you.
I don't know what happened, Tracy, but whatever pill you took, please share it with other people. Chir kuntatla. So this is an idea. Kuntak means conceptions. Okay, and it doesn't have to mean a wrong conception. So kuntaks are divided into kuntaks which are real things and kuntaks which are not real things. Okay, it's just so you know, it just means conceptual things. Okay, in general, it means conceptual things. And there are kuntaks which do exist, okay, in this school. All right. And they're kind of like, I think you could say they are unchanging things. You see, because where are you gonna put in the three characteristics of the mind-only school, where are you gonna put unchanging things that really do exist? Like space or something, like empty space. Where are you gonna put them in those three categories? You can't put them into Xuanzang's, that's things with cosmic conditions. They are not emptiness. So they have to go into kuntak. So then kuntak doesn't mean non-existent imaginary thing. It means imaginary thing. And there are existing ones and non-existing ones. The non-existing ones are gakcha. Okay, blue which could exist outside. Something which has to mean a name which always means the same thing to everybody. But those are kuntaks that don't exist. And then, but there are kuntaks that do exist, and he names the two main ones here. Chitsens in general, all categories. Okay, all categories, all conceptual categories, like things, quote things, especially when you do this. Okay, that's a sign of a chitsen. Okay, things. And by the way, I mean, coffee cup is a changing thing. Coffee cup is a chitsen, and it's a kuntat, and it's an unchanging thing, imaginary unchanging thing that's real. It really does exist. The category of all coffee cups exists. Okay. Okay. So he says, throw into the kuntak all the chitsens there are, which do exist. The names of categories, cups, fish, colors. All right. And then let's throw in there namka.
Space and all the rest. And the others.
Yeah. So he says, look, there's lots of stuff that goes into the category of kuntak or imaginary thing, which does exist. Okay. But dode gongdel, which is what? What I really meant. The sutra called What I Really Meant in My Sutra. And the name is misleading because when you see a name of a book called What the Sutras Really Mean, you imagine it could not have been written by the Buddha. Because he spoke the sutras. He doesn't explain the sutras. If you explain the sutras, it must be a shastra. So it must be some Indian pundit, right? But this one book is called What I Really Meant When I Taught the Sutras, and it's spoken by Lord Buddha, and it's the one which lays out the mind-only school. Okay, so he says, why? Here's the cool question. Why are the kuntaks which do exist not treated in that book? Why didn't he mention them in that sutra, where he explained all his sutras, where he basically laid out the three turnings of the wheel? But why didn't he mention those kuntaks? And why were you guys so desensitized to kuntaks that do exist before we mentioned it this morning? Right? Why? And then he says, here we go, dun, 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 which is a good place to start. No, yes.
We've got 1 minute.
Okay, go. Venerable
I'm just going to
Upala,
read it. Kuntak
Yeah.
kanji tong pa yang druk du jok pe kapsu te dak mi koe so.
What's koa mean?
Necessary?
Yeah, necessary. Oftentimes it means the supplies you need on a trip, necessities, okay? And he says, when you're establishing the meaning of yongdu, emptiness in the mind-only school, and you're trying to describe it as by the way, if you don't spell it right here, it doesn't make any sense. If you explain emptiness in the mind-only school as the absence of something, you don't want to use kuntaks which actually do exist.
Yeah.
You don't need them when you're they are totally unnecessary in this discussion. When you're describing emptiness as the absence of some fake stuff, you shouldn't bring up the labeled stuff, which is not fake, which means space and chi sense. Cool. They're not necessary for the discussion. Cool. They don't help. In fact, they would cause you trouble because you need, when you're talking about emptiness, when you're talking about what emptiness is empty of, you god dang better be talking about something which is impossible. And space is not impossible, and categories are not impossible. Cool. But they are kuntak. They are imaginary things, but they're real. Some imaginary things are real. Cool. Got it? Your case?
Who's saying this?
Jetson Kappa. Yeah. And then he goes into the quotation that Kedubje used. But to me, you need the context. I don't think you can really, the quotation is not delicious unless you hear what he said before that. What he said after that is going to be translated by Venerable Utpala and is equally sexy. Okay.
Yay.
And just the big letters here, okay? What is it, the 10th?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good.
So I'm sorry, by saying just the big letters, do you mean not to translate Chiro, Latupe, etc.?
Oh yeah, I do mean to translate that, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. The bold, I'll say the bold, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. You, Venerable Utpala, are going to lead a discussion on what we heard today, which might possibly help us in our real life. And then at 9:15, we have a very amazing interview with two high DCI officials. Okay.
Wonderful. Okay, so we've talked about somehow, we talked about that if you if you don't understand that you cannot see a bodhisattva and you cannot see the name bodhisattva, then you will not see the greater way. And then we talked about, let's see, we started talking about the three qualities of the mind-only school, right? Things created by causes, Xuanzangs, our misunderstandings about them, Kuntaks, and then Yongdrup, when we dissolve that misunderstanding and see what's really there. And we talked about how Kuntaks are of two types, those which do exist and those which do not.
I'm thinking this whole thing about canceling something which is not real to get to emptiness, right? Canceling something which is not real to get to emptiness. If you think of the mind-only school in the 6 flavors of emptiness, do you remember? We've been focusing on blue as being empty of being outside. We've been focusing on the color blue as being empty of the kuntak of being outside object, right? But there's another big theme in the mind-only school, which we cover in the 6 flavors of emptiness, that things are empty of, yeah, of having to be they're given.
Oh, shoot, you froze there. Could you say that again?
Things are empty of having to be referred to with the name they are given. And the opposite of that is a rose by any other name would be the same. The mind-only school is big on how things are not really outside objects. And they're also big on how names don't apply to things automatically. And I wonder if anybody if you guys could talk about the second kind of emptiness, which kind of doesn't get the credit that it should. I
Right.
think sometimes people, they're always bringing up the blue, and the other guy always gets ignored, right? The name thing, the rose thing, always
Yeah.
gets ignored. So what are the practical applications of those two?
Right.
If I follow the mind-only school on those 2 points, how does it make my life easier?
Right. I have a great example to maybe kick it off. So I was traveling with a friend of mine who happens to be a great practitioner, and we had car troubles. And so, we pull off to the side of the road and we're looking, put up the hood, we're looking at the engine and this part is that part and all that. And then he looked and went beyond the label of things and was able to use things in a way that didn't fit their name. And I can't remember exactly what it was, but he took things that were there for other purposes and made them work to allow the car to function.
Oh, I
But
thought
if you had been stuck on saying this thing only does this.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, good. Nice. Yeah, I think that's a sign of innovation. When you go beyond the name and you can use something for a purpose that it wasn't designed for. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
Do people have other kinds of ideas?
So basically you use the name in a different way. Radically different name. Radically different way. Yeah.
I think a lot about the way. Oh, please, boss.
I was just going to point out that her classes tend to create these big silences. Dr. Kramer, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just thinking, I think a lot about the way when we walk into a room or we meet a new person, we have a tendency to look to what we like or what we don't like automatically and quickly jump to, I like this place or I don't like this place. This is a good place or a bad place. I see it a lot in yoga classes. Of course, you come in, this is a good yoga class, this is a bad yoga class, this room is too hot. Or then there are the weird people who like hot yoga and the room is just like so delightfully hot for them, especially when it's getting cold. You see it's snowing out here now, which is one of the only good reasons to do hot yoga. And but the practice of gratitude, the practice, and I think I referred to this in the last class, but there are limitless applications to coffee meditation. The practice of reviewing what is beautiful, the wonderful things that you've achieved, but also what is beautiful in other people, also what's beautiful around you, the practice of noting all the beautiful things that you see, even in just intentionally, eventually creates these patterns in us, plants these seeds in us, brings us back to noticing what is beautiful. From the world side, in and of itself, out there, is it really beautiful or not beautiful? And you can't answer a question like that, but you can't help it. You walk into a room and you see it as beautiful or not beautiful. You will see it as beautiful or not beautiful. And you can let that happen accidentally by whatever went on in your life or lives previously, or you can train the mind. And all you have to do is notice one beautiful thing and another beautiful thing and another beautiful thing. And before you know it, accidentally, you run around thinking the world is an utter paradise, when of course it isn't really. But you won't mind one bit the paradise that you are helpless but to perceive.
That's cool. Except I wouldn't say that's not accidental. That sounds purposeful to me.
I'm opting for that way. I'm saying you can do it on purpose instead. Our normal mode is just like,
Yeah.
well, I walk into the room and let's see, what is it, Willie? And then you have this sort of accidental, right, from whatever you did. I
From
always
beginning
think
to
of
end, yeah.
planting seeds in before we know about seeds. I always think of planting seeds as driving a car. Oh wow, look at that. Yay. I always think of
Yeah, you gotta be
planting a
careful
seed.
with the term.
I know, I guess. What happens if I pick my nose? Uh it, it's like driving a car, your hands are duct taped to the wheel and you're blindfolded. And you just keep running into things and you don't know that you're driving the car. And this is, our entire set of lives or lifetime before we know about seeds, before you even know you're driving the car. And so it's great news. You might not be great at driving the day you find out you're driving, but at least you know you're driving and you can start to try for a change.
Yeah. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Tracy, you have your hand up.
Yeah, the other day after yoga class, I decided after working on the channels to go for a walk. And I've heard in the past Geshe and Earl talk about ice on the tree branches. So I was walking, and it's the first time I ever witnessed melting of tree branches, and it became a song. Like it was sound of ice falling from the branches. And I was walking along thinking, wow, this is so magical. And then all of a sudden I heard all this noise from the ice and it kind of scared me. And then I looked up and there was a miniature flip-flop in the tree. And I was like, wow, trees are like flip-flops are supposed to be on your feet, but why is that one on a branch? And it had a lotus flower in the little foot piece. So then I was like, this is magical. And I'm walking along. And all of a sudden, I see this huge dog. His muscles had muscles. And I froze. I was like, and he literally, the owner ran to him, caught him, and he didn't bite me or anything. So then I was like, whoa. So then I realized what was weird that felt like was happening, the ice freezing, melting, me seeing a dog freezing, and then the breath. And so then I realized the inside and the outside and labeling things and not labeling things and just kind of like letting go and finding joy. It was like a weird magical moment. So I don't know if any of this makes sense, but it was just kind of designed to like look at things and what's happening. And then at the end of the day, I realized, wow, I must have been kind to somebody because the dog didn't bite me.
Oh, great. Thank you. Christina, I noticed you wrote something in the chat. Do you want to speak?
Am I able to? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. No, I was just thinking, we talk about renunciation all the time. And if you look at the etymology of that word, renuncio, it means to restate. So I was thinking, based on this discussion, that maybe since we don't actually see things which are not self-existent, maybe we see rods and shapes and colors. Why do we have to name them in certain ways based on what we just learned? Why don't we name them as something, like Tracy just said, totally perfect? Not a fierce dog, but a projection of our imaginations, which we then turn into something utterly perfect and certainly not harmful. Just a new way of thinking of renounce.
That's cool. Thank you. And it's like, how can we label something in a way such that it benefits us? I mean, ultimately in our practice to be able to serve all people. But then even just conventionally speaking, how can I get my car to work again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just rename it as something beneficial for you. For instance, if your car is broken, don't look at it as a broken car. look at it as a wonderful opportunity to teach you patience.
That's one. That's another possible thing. Yeah.
But you just rename it, right? You rename it. It's not a problem. It's never a problem. You rename it as something helpful to your practice.
Right. Great. Thank you, Christina. And thank you, everyone, for your attention and your participation. And think about these things, and then we'll meet again next month and have a wonderful quiz about this.
Yay. I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Thank you so much, Geshe Michael. Thank you, Utpala. Remember, everybody, it is still possible to sign up for the Good Night Club. You don't need to be here. We're very happy to have everyone come for free. It's wonderful to spend time together. Those of you who would like to subscribe for the opportunity to receive books, valise bag, whatever other upcoming perks we can offer for your subscriptions, you are able to do so still. Many of you have, most of you have already subscribed. It's wonderful, but we always want to extend that opportunity. And thank you so much for your participation. And then it does look like Daniel Garcia is standing by and ready to receive our attention for the Peachtree World News. My understanding, Daniel, is you have a very special interview for us today.
Yes, we have with us some DCI big shots who we are all very excited to find out about. Geshe Michael's very happy to have them here in Rimrock. So I'd like to introduce, actually, I'm also getting to know them, but this is Anna and this is Igor. And so I'd like to basically ask you to please introduce yourselves a little bit to me and to everyone that's watching, just maybe a little bit about yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you. So let's say that Anya and I, so in the past, we were organizer of Geshe Michael's events in Ukraine and Kiev since 2011, when he first time came to Europe. And after that, when they moved to Canada in 2017, Geshe asked us, okay, guys, so you for many years, you were organizers of the offline DCI events. And so now you know about how the communication between the DCI and the organizers should be. So please come and help us to improve this communication. And so it was a big honor for us to come. And now we are a small part of the big team of the DCIG. And our goal in DCIG is to help the organizers to receive all the materials in time. And we are responsible for all the communications. Our main goal is just to listen for their complaints. So
nice. Great. Well, that's very important. That's awesome. And so then you said 2011 was your first time studying with Geshe Michael?
Yeah.
And where was that?
In Kiev.
Okay.
Ukraine.
So that's where you lived, you said, until
Yeah.
2017.
2017, yeah. And there was a story, by the way, about Geshe and our moving to Canada. At some point, we applied for the permanent residency in Canada, and the wait time was just huge. We were waiting and waiting and waiting, nothing happens. And then Geshe was in Kiev, and just from the stage, he said, well, I will say the special prayer so that Igor and Anna don't move to Canada soon. And so the wait time increased for how many, 2 or 3 years more?
About 3 years more, yes.
Seriously, we couldn't get any response from the immigration service. It was like crazy. And then, apparently Geshe said, okay, now you can move.
So then your first event, obviously you were students. You showed up in 2011 to study.
No, actually we were like a co-organizer.
Okay. You organized that event and you were already running as organizers from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were organizing from very beginning, from 2011 to 2017. So when we moved to Canada, we still finished the last event, like it was advanced level. It was level 7.
Yeah, Igor was going back and forth to Ukraine to help with the organization.
The last one in the presidential palace.
President Palace in Kiev.
Yeah.
I think they brought 700 people.
That's awesome. Okay, so then as I understand, 2011 was when you first organized. So then you must have known of Geshe Michael before that.
Yeah, it has all started with Igor reading the book.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how long did you know about Geshe-la before you actually became an organizer?
About half of the year.
Oh, that's fast.
It was very interesting. It was also very interesting.
I always
story.
think it's an interesting story how you can go from sitting in the class and listening to suddenly, getting the inspiration to be an organizer. You usually has something to do with Geshe-la recognizing something in you and then pulling it out of you. So
The Diamond Cutter book made it all, So
Yeah.
just reading this.
Let's make long story short, I was sitting in my office one day in 2010, immediately after I became in bankruptcy, complete bankruptcy. And I'm sitting in a small office after having like about 700 employees. I have like just 20 in a small company, and I was sitting and one of my friends came and he asked me, okay, and he was just passing the Kiev and I will come to drink some tea. And he came and asked, what do you think about? How was your life? And I asked, that I could not make relations with my efforts and results. So sometimes I work no money. So sometimes I work a lot of, doesn't work a lot of money. And so I don't know how to do my business. After 15 years of doing business and become bankruptcy, I don't know how to further. And after that, he just pull out, they printed from the internet, the Diamond Cutter book and connected with stapler and say, okay, please read this. Probably you will find answers.
Nice.
And I read them, and immediately after I just swallowed this book and I go, oh, I was so amazed and enjoyed that. Immediately after that, suddenly I know that Geshe-la is going to Kiev. Just at half of the year after that, and of course I am right into the process.
So you serendipitously found out Geshe-la was coming to Kiev after having been inspired by the book?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, it sounds like you had some ripenings. That's amazing. Cool. And so then, as I understand, your main job is to work with Geshe-la and Seiji for DCI Global, helping them with customer relations.
Yeah,
human resources.
exactly. And not
Well,
human,
not within the business, but outside, right?
Let's say it's a part, there is a part of human resources as well. And I wanted to mention it too, because we always welcome new organizers. So maybe the audience can benefit from this information, because we always need new organizers all over the world. So if any one of you can think of becoming an organizer, you can reach out and you're very welcome. Yeah.
Awesome.
Sorry?
Suppose somebody in the audience would like to organize DCI in their country. How do they?
Geshe-la said, suppose someone in the audience would like to organize a DCI event. How do they do that?
Yeah, so I need to provide the contact.
Okay, so this is just a little sneak peek as to who these incredible people are, but we will have them on again and we'll have an extended interview, but we can also provide their contact information for you in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So then I think for now, that's good. We got to meet Anna and Igor. Thank you so much for coming all the way to Rimrock to joining us. We look forward to having you again soon. And I'll put the contact in the chat in just a second, but we have another segment coming up. Juan, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Juan's coming over here with a special here. Let's give Juan the chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, as some of you may know, we're celebrating the Dragon's New Year last night here in the same house, and we brought these cups because we want to thank the hostess. So Stanley and Xiaoping, we would like to give you this in regards of Peachtree World News, and thank you so much for the whole year of support. and for like letting us use this place and supporting us. Thank you very much. So thank you for everything you do for us and many more people. And also just to finish not to finish, to keep going with the celebrations, we have a little special segment with Chloe because she's going to be telling us more about what it means to be in the Dragon Year. Thank you very much. And yeah, let's see, Chloe. Huh? We? Okay, are you, I think Chloe is gonna be sharing her screen. She may be logged in. If any of you, maybe Marina or Gina using the computer, could share Chloe's screen, that'll be great. She's gonna show us what's happening. Hello, Chloe, how are you?
Hi, everybody. So this will be the new year with the dragon. So I'm gonna quickly show you how to write dragon.
Go.
You have audio.
So this is a dragon, and since it's our mixed nut, I'll quickly show us the history of the word of the dragon. So this is our dragon roll from last night. Is the sushi that we got. It's the year of this dragon is a green color, the new one of the 60 years cycle. So it's, perfect. I got this. I hope you guys saw this. So this is the dragon. It looks like this. So it means protection, wisdom. It means it resembles energy, good luck, authority, royalty. And this is the dragon that you might not know. It's not the same as the Western dragon. So we, propose to have our own word like long to say the actual dragon, just long. Because look, you can see they are the head that's made with horse, and there's the antler from a deer, and then the whole skin is covered by fish scales. And then it's the eagle claws, also the vision of the eagle, and it's a snake body. So that compose, the dragon is a mythological animal that is resembling a lot of the best abilities and qualities of many, many animals. So this is the royalty. This is the, on the left, is the emperor from Tang Dynasty. And we call this Long Pao, which means the dragon robe. Only the emperors get to wear dragon robes. And then on the right side, this is a more closed up clothes. And you can see there are so many dragons. It's hand sold on the silk. So it's very auspicious and royal, the symbol of royalty. And the dragon also, people who are born in the year of dragon has this ambitious ability to always take up very big projects and very smart, very capable, and have natural leadership. Also, it's the year of dragon, so we can all use some of those qualities. So I just want to show you, since we are mixed nuts, Xuanzang Tower translators, this is the whole progression of the dragon from 1766 BC on the very upper left corner. It's Oracle dragon, all the way to the current dragon, which I just showed you guys, this one. So you can see dragon has been with us or on the record from ancient time. Yeah, they do look like dragons, right? And then now I can, this is something you can constantly see in different calligraphies on the, some buildings or even in someone's home. These are very classic dragons. And the first one is from 440 Northern Dynasty. And this is on the carving. It's a carved on a stone dragon. And then later you can see is a Tang Dynasty on the right, 620. And then the bottom two are very classic, another two different style from Han Dynasty. So this is what I wanted to show last night is the Xuanzang and his horse. So you can see the Xuanzang. This is a very classic look where the Chinese culture is in a TV show. We grew up watching this. They repeat themselves every summer. And this is their horse, the horse of Xuanzang. It's called the White Dragon Horse. Also in Stanley Allison's game section, we learned that Long Ma, dragon horse spirit, means people with high energy and brings out the spirit of a highly capable person and brings the spirit to the team. And the Tang Xuanzang is interesting. It's also the Tripika master of the Tang dynasty. So Tang 3, Tripika Zhang. So this is the one scene where in the journey to the west, they went to the dragon's palace under the water. So they are meeting the 4 dragon kings from 4 different directions. You know, the Eastern Ocean, the 4. Okay, so that is it. Thank you so much for learning about dragon with me.
Yeah, that's very cool, Chloe. I don't know if anybody noticed, but those first couple of calligraphies, the ancient ones, actually look like dragons. Geshe-la says in the past that was very common, that the character would resemble, what the word was. So thank you so much. Also, just we do have the contact information for Anna and Igor. So if anybody's interested in finding out how to become a future DCI organizer, please go to the chat and you can send them an email and start asking questions. So thanks a lot, guys. Are we over to Word? Yeah.
See you on Monday.
See you Monday. We'll be back. Geshe-la, we're so lucky.
Hi, everybody.